we're going to go over my EPQ, we're going to find out the myth behind the madness today. And my question was, to what extent are social media influencers exploiting the fear of missing out of young adults for profit? And to celebrate, and to more so add as an introductory part, my EPQ was looking at, how the concept of fear of missing out is being exploited by large social media users for, to make a profit for themselves. Because with how prevalent social media is, and especially as a common topic, I'm sure everyone here at least uses one social media platform. That's a given. But does everybody really interact with social media influencers? That's another question that we probably won't get into the answers of. But for the people that do engage, it is a primary source of content. It is basically, compared to natural television, it is seen as the new general media content stream. But I'd like to more so join you, I'd like to ask you to join me in celebrating, the ups and downs of what this project has actually, came to. And, it's like a roller coaster. There's ups, there's downs, there's probably a loop in the middle, don't know where. Maybe I've passed it, maybe I haven't. So, you never really know what's going to go on. But first of all, we need to look at why I took on the EPQ. We need to look at why I wanted to, and then we can move on from how it went from concept to product, which I think is relatively, important to look at and understand. But why did I do the EPQ in the first place? My first plan, while being blissfully unaware back at the start of this year, was that the EPQ was a smaller side project. I thought it was something that I could have easily put on the back burner and would have been able to get an easy way to get a conditional offer from university. But that's not the case anymore. But particularly in the essay portion of the EPQ, I learned that it wasn't an easy task. I learned that it was a grueling, hard experience. And by the time I realized that, I'd long passed the point to reasonably drop out of the project. But due to sheer stubbornness of my own character, and to see if it's more of a test of my own self-strength, I decided to persevere and to see how far I can currently come on with my current skill set and picking up additional knowledge, information, and extra skills while taking on the additional tutoring sessions. But first of all, I think we need to talk about what I left behind. No project comes out with one question straight away and completely resolves in that of another. Everybody has concepts, everyone has preliminary ideas, and everybody has at least one starting point. And one of my original starting points was looking at how one of my favorite movies had an effect on wider society. But I'm not sure some of you could actually guess this movie. The movie itself, as seen by the poster here, is the 1930s adaptation of the book All Quiet on the Western Front, which portrays the most realistic, grueling experience, which in the 1930s was the most realistic take of what the First World War was like. And I found this quite interesting to study because the concept began after I watched a 2-hour documentary by a YouTuber going over the history of the movie. And when I saw that a YouTuber uploaded a documentary on a video that I liked, I had to watch it. But I looked, and there were many things that interested me. I learned things that I didn't about the movie. But one thing that did stick out to me was that the lead actor of the movie, after portraying it and seeing how realistic it was in the portrayal and the directing styles to how it actually was experienced in the war, became a primary peace advocate. And I thought it was rather interesting because having the lead actor go on to be one of the key leading figures in American peace advocacy during the Second World War is incredibly powerful. So if the lead actor of the movie basically became a peace advocate due to his experiences, I wonder what the audience must have thought. And I wanted to look at how this movie had influenced the idea of peace advocacy. How many people were saying they weren't going to go to the war, or the Second World War, which I think was quite interesting at the time. And it was a great concept, novelly. I think it was quite good, but I need to more so speak about everything as well. I have autism and ADHD, so I hyperfixate on things a lot. And this is one of my hyperfixations. I'm absolutely obsessed with this movie. I love it, I watch it probably at least once a month. And it's also one of the reasons why I dropped this line of thought. And while I would have loved to have done this and study academically and produce like a great piece that I would have had my full passion into, I don't think I would have actually blasted till the end. Because the one thing that comes with obsession is that they come in cycles. If I focus or hyperfixate on one thing too much, I burn out, and I lose my hope and I lose my passion for it. So instead, I decided to focus more on a topic that I don't think I've ever experienced burnout with. And ever since the age of 8, I've constantly had the primary obsession of since the start, which was actually psychology. And I wanted to practice research for psychology because that's my plan for university. I want to go and do a psychology undergraduate, and learning the skills, especially in writing a dissertation, would be incredibly important, especially when trying to actually write a dissertation for example, a PhD or a research paper, which would account for quite a lot of the psychology parts of